Episode 75 of Multiplaying is brought to you by the Nike Mag. No, this show isn't really brought to you by them, but they do exist.
Your jacket is now dry.
Everybody online, looking good.
A companion podcast to the collaborative blog and gaming community that's playing as life allows. This is Multiplaying.
Well, let's start the insanity.
We have clearance, Clarence. Roger. What's our vector, Victor?
Hello?
Great heavens! What kind of radio show is this?
They are so awesome.
I want that jacket, too.
The jacket still looks good.
Yeah, I would wear it.
They don't.
I wear a lot worse.
I've seen you.
They don't self-lace, though. The mags don't self-lace, which I was really disappointed in.
Yeah, that was the biggest disappointment. But then they're only selling 150 of them, I think it was, and they're all going to charity via eBay. But yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about, the Nike Mag was the shoe that Michael J. Fox wore as Marty McFly in Back to the Future 2. They were self-lacing. And Nike has made a limited run of them, 150 of them, all being sold on eBay over like the next 10 days or whatever. And all of the proceeds are going towards the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's Research, I believe is what it is.
Yep.
I thought I read somewhere that one already sold for like $75,000.
No, I think it's 37,000.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I saw
That's what.
it.
Okay. But yeah, that's a chunk of money.
They came in like a plutonium case.
Oh yeah, I did see the case that they were coming. That is.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, looks really, really good. But yeah, that's just so awesome that they even made them, and they still look pretty original. They look horribly 80s.
Let's get some fucking hoverboards. enough of this dicking around.
Well, if you're gonna make the shoes, make them self-lacing, and then get our hoverboards. Damn it!
They actually said they were working on the self-lacing. They said they had a couple prototypes.
Really? Well, that's probably why on that the advertisement for it, Doc Brown says that the self-lacing, or the one guy in the commercial says that the self-lacing isn't until 2015.
Okay, wait. I didn't even hear. So they don't actually tighten?
No.
Oh, that's
they don't.
bullshit.
Well, they tighten, but they don't self-tighten.
They don't self-tighten. No.
Yeah.
Like in the movie, he hits a button or whatever, and they automatically adjust to fit around his foot. I don't believe these do that. I have not read anywhere where they do that.
It's 2011. We should be able to do that.
The only thing that it shows that they do is you push like the side of it, and it lights up.
Yeah. Well, they're rechargeable.
It's
they last
a shoe with lights.
Yeah, so it's basically a kid's shoe.
I'm really coming down on this topic the more we talk about it. The more I find out about it.
Never mind, Multiplaying is not brought to you by the Nike
I'm
Mag.
glad we put on our journalist hat and got to the bottom of this case.
Screw you, Nike. We don't want your money.
Come back when they tighten.
Well, if you couldn't tell on the show, we have Jason.
Hey.
We have Dean.
Hey there.
And myself, Steve. We should be having another guest. Rare should be popping in to talk to us about a game, which I guess we're not going to talk about until he gets in here. It's nothing too exciting, so don't get off the edge of your seat.
Don't get your hopes up for Rare.
Just that dude.
Rare.
Don't feel bad for him. But
I don't. I'll pick.
Typically, on the show, we start off with what we've been playing. I'm going to change that for this episode. Instead of what we've been playing, I want to use this episode because of the time of year that it is. It is September. We're going into the last few months of the year, the big, exciting gaming months. There's a lot of stuff coming down the pike, and I'd like to talk about what we're planning on buying, like our must-haves over the next few months. So instead of what we've been playing, we'll kind of get into that a little bit when Rare pops in, but this is what we are wanting to buy. I'm going to start off with Dean. What do you want to buy, Dean? What's exciting you for the next couple months?
You're gonna start this off on a low note with me. Actually, do you want me to give away my thing yet? Now?
Nah.
Okay. All right.
Just wait for it, listeners.
So I'm really looking forward to several games. Actually, this was pre 2012 releases, correct?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I had all my months right. So the first thing I have on my list is Assassin's Revolution, which is my name for Assassin's Creed Revelations.
Sounds like a dance game.
I know. I wasn't sure reading that in the doc if you were talking about that or Dance Dance.
Oh God, no. No, not Dance Dance. I got to
think so.
I got to see a lot of Dance Dance a couple weeks ago, and it's
I
kind
bet you did.
It's really scary how good those people are. Wow. Okay. So, but Assassin's Creed Revelations is the first on my list because What was that? Go ahead, Steve.
No, I was just going to say, yep, I'm equally as excited.
It's going to be awesome. It's apparently in, what is it, Constantinople? Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. And it's going to be the last one with what's his butt, Ezio?
What's his butt?
Oh, he's old, Ezio.
Yeah, he is old Ezio.
He looks rad, though.
He does.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. I don't know a whole ton about the game other than I like Assassin's Creed, and I absolutely loved and played to death Brotherhood, so this one I assume will be just as good.
Did you play much of the multiplayer Brotherhood?
You know, okay, so I got rid of it on Xbox, and I just rebought it because I found it for like $10 on sale. I rebought it for PS3 because I don't have an Xbox Live Gold. And so I actually got to level 8 in the multiplayer, and that's before I discovered Final Fantasy 13, which is just a sad story. But anyway, I played. It's awesome. I love the multiplayer in that. Have you played the PS3 beta?
No, I did not actually realize the beta was up.
Yeah, it's open to everyone now.
Oh, goddamn. I have to go do that this weekend then, because I adored Brotherhood's multiplayer, and I think we had spoke on it when we were doing our Game of the Year stuff this last year, that it was like one of the big surprises for me that probably for everybody, that they were pushing the game so hard for the multiplayer, but then the single player ended up being a surprise.
Yeah.
But the multiplayer was so good. I really, really enjoyed how different it was.
And what's funny is I have heard you talk about it so much, and I had never played it. And then when I rebought it, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to play through the game again. So let me try the multiplayer. And I ended up, I sucked at it at first. It got a little bit better, and then it started getting a lot more fun because it's just it's different. So, and I heard that they're going to change the way progression works, and they're going to make the multiplayer more story based and add guilds in Revelations. Is that right?
Really? I don't know. I've not actually looked into it too much.
You can have some sort of guild with a crest. Maybe I'm thinking something else, but they did mix it up and make it a lot more, a lot more meaty, I guess, in this one.
Cool. I'm excited.
The next thing I am excited for is I'll skip ahead to Burnout Crash, which I don't know how much you guys played the Burnout games, but I used to be obsessed with Burnout. Like,
you did, didn't you, Jason? I did not.
I only played Paradise, but I played a shitload of Paradise.
Yeah, Paradise is amazing, but the thing that was missing from Burnout Paradise was Crash mode, and Paradise did have Showtime mode, which was, where you hit both bumpers on your controller and then at an intersection or whatever, and then you'd go into Crash mode and, try to just get a high score. Well, traditionally in Burnout 3 and Burnout Revenge, I think it was, Revenge, they had a crash mode where it was more of a puzzle-based thing where they would set up an intersection and you would crash your car and attempt to get to a certain level and score by hitting multipliers and by blowing up enough cars. So it was a cool puzzle-based spin on the whole Burnout gameplay or whatever. And this one is, and I'm kind of hesitant and interested in seeing how it's going to turn out, but this one's a top-down crash game where you drive your car into the intersection and attempt to do the same thing, but it's apparently a little bit more crazy and comical, and you can tell by the graphics that they're going that direction. So I'm not quite sure if it's going to satisfy my whole want for having a real traditional crashed based game within a Burnout game, but I am looking forward to it because I think it's going to be pretty crazy, and it's supposed to come out on XBLA and PSN, and I don't know if it's coming out on PC, but I'll probably get it on PS3. So it looked quite interesting.
It's going to be like probably a cheaper title though?
Yeah, I think it's going to. I speculate. I'll irresponsibly speculate.
That's what we do.
That's the best kind.
Yeah, I irresponsibly speculate it will be $14.99.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. They've confirmed it's downloadable price.
Yeah, so it's going to be cheaper.
10 or 15 or 20 at the most, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm disappointed that it's not, a main crash mode or a DLC for Paradise, which they stopped making DLC a long time ago. But
but it's hard to be mad when they stopped making DLC for Paradise.
Well,
when they made so much DLC for Paradise,
and I have all of it.
Me too.
I played the shit out of that game.
So did I. That game was fantastic.
You know, and
I should
coming
get it
off,
sometime.
you should get it now. It's the Paradise is one of those games that I always come back to, and I probably put, I don't know, like probably 80 or so hours into that game, just insane amounts of time. And at first I didn't like it because it was open world and a big departure from the old series. But the more you play it, the more you get familiar with the town and how the whole game works. And it's fucking sweet.
The multiplayer is so good in that game.
It is. It's really fun when you have like the objectives that pop up, you know, and then it's like all players have to get to this section and do this specific task together. And then you always have that one little kid who's like, fucking get on the bridge, get on the bridge.
Yeah. Who takes it way too seriously. But that's the beauty of that mode is it's people are dicking around, and if they do it, they do it. If not, you're still having fun.
Yeah.
Do you think there's still people playing the multiplayer?
Oh, yeah.
There are, yeah.
Well, I mean, especially on PSN, it's free, and whenever I would go in, there would be tons of people playing. It was never a problem to find a game. It was always a problem to mute the people who were being annoying, but it was never.
It was so seamless. I don't know if you knew any about it, Steve, but you didn't have to go in a multiplayer lobby. You'd be playing your game, and you could just say, "All right, I want to join online," and you would remain exactly where you were, and it would warp you into an online match, and you were still like in the same spot racing. Mm-hmm. So it was within a couple seconds you were going from single player to multiplayer, and then you could just warp back to single player if you wanted to.
It's
that
awesome.
Sounds interesting. Yeah,
it's very arcadey. So I know that you're more into the sim style and having the wheel and whatnot.
Yeah, you're not going to want your wheel for this shit.
No. I play a lot of other racing games. I mean, I wouldn't say that Dirt is all the time realistic, and I loved Blur. And I play arcade racing games as well. So
if you like Blur, this is kind of, well, it's not the same, but it's
right. It's not Mario Kart with real cars. It's more. It sounds interesting though.
You need to get it.
I should.
But yeah, my last one other than Crash is pretty obvious. Is Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, which I did not get to play the demo of at PAX because the booth was fucking swamped the whole time.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, it was insanity. So I didn't get to play it, but I have watched some gameplay trailers and I've seen just whatever stuff about it. It looks amazing. I put over 100 hours into Oblivion, and that was the base game, not the DLC.
Wow.
And I've never played the DLC. I finished the game and I was done. I just didn't want to play anymore. But yeah, I can't wait to be back in that world. I've always been a huge fan of the Elder Scrolls. I played a bit of Daggerfall, a ton of Morrowind, ton of Oblivion. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I don't know what platform to get it on. What are you getting on, Steve?
It's still questionable if I'm going to get it. There's another thing that might stand in my way for it, but if I do, it's definitely going to be on the PC.
Yeah.
But I am also excited about Skyrim. I'm not excited from the historical point of view because, like, you've played the other ones a lot. I did not like Morrowind at all.
Well, that's kind of an acquired taste.
Yeah,
Back in the day, it was incredible, though. It was amazing.
Right, and Oblivion was, I think I've probably mentioned too many times already, but Oblivion was a game that I bought 3 times. Because I bought it
loved
twice.
it so much.
Yeah, I bought it on the PC twice and hated it each time, but there was just so much like hype from friends about it that I was like, okay, I'm missing something. I'm not playing it far enough in before I get to the good part.
I would say I'm a fucking idiot because everyone else loves it.
But I was an idiot to buy it 3 times. But the third time I actually bought it on the PS3 after it was released on there and enjoyed it more, but still not a lot. And a lot of it had to do with I've never really liked first-person RPGs for some reason. So, but I won't get into all that again. But for some reason, Skyrim is just doing it for me visually. I think it's the whole the Norse look to everything that they're throwing out at me that does it for me.
Yeah.
I think I really, really dig that. So that's probably just, there's something hidden in there that I might still hate the game. I don't know, but I am hyped up enough about it that the only reason I think I won't buy it is if the Old Republic gets released that same month.
Well, I will say about the whole third person, first person, not to beat it to death, but I was watching a gameplay trailer really recently, and the developer was saying that while showing the third person mode, that they really did quite a bit of work on the third person mode in this game, and the animations look a lot better, and it does look significantly better than Oblivion. So
yeah, I think I watched that same video because that's another part that's actually got me excited because even like in the like Fallout and like Fallout, just like in Oblivion, the third person, if you pull back out of the first person, it just never felt right. It never felt good.
Yeah.
And the video that they showed off and in the bit that he pulled out and showed third person, it did look really, really good. So
it did. The animations looked actually pretty incredible for Elder Scrolls. So yeah.
So if that comes true, then yay.
And there's always mods. There's always mods.
Yeah, Jason and me were talking about that beforehand because he was. That's part of the reason I would get it on the PC, even though I'm not a big mod person. Jason had said that that there's that option like later on that you would have the mods. So.
And they can make a huge difference. I know with Oblivion, they initially it fixed a lot of problems with the game and dressed up and fixed the graphics some. So anyway, yeah, it is. I'm getting it on PC. What the fuck am I talking about? That's that.
All right. Is there anything else, Dean?
Stuff for 2012, but that is not for the show.
All right. Jason.
Yeah.
What you looking forward to?
I saw a commercial yesterday. I was kind of surprised because this game's kind of far out, but it was during football last night. Uncharted 3.
They're already putting commercials out?
Yeah.
Wow.
During, like the first NFL game, so obviously they're putting out a lot of money to hype this game.
Mm-hmm.
Which, understandably so. But I paid it off today.
Did you? Yeah, you said you were taking in some. Some old shit. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Dance Central.
Are you serious? That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah. But no, I can't wait for that game. I actually started replaying, too. I'm playing through the story again, and I'm actually going back to the multiplayer in that, because that multiplayer was awesome. It kind of got buried.
Yeah. It was really good.
Things like that was really, really good. It was something different, and it really frustrates me because I've heard in major podcasts where they talk about, do we really need any other multiplayer? They're talking about like outside of the big ones like Modern Warfare, and they lumped Uncharted in there, and it's like it's a completely different experience.
That's a really good game. I'd rather play that on a console than a first-person shooter on a console, but that's me. I am
even
minority.
if you like first-person shooters on a console, it's a different experience.
Totally. Yeah.
You have the traversal stuff. It's third person. I don't know, but I can't wait for that game. So I'm trying to think like, what would I wait for until like Christmas? Kind of see what gift cards I get and all that. But I need to get that game right away.
See, I'm between that because I want that as well. But I think between Assassin's Creed and that, I think I was more satisfied with the multiplayer in it. And because the single player, like you've stated to me multiple times that the single player will be there later. It's not like something they have to get into before the community moves away from it. And since I enjoy both of the storylines and both Uncharted and Assassin's Creed probably equally, I think it's kind of coming down to multiplayer with me. So I think I'm more excited about getting back into the multiplayer of Assassin's Creed than I am Uncharted, even though it is really good.
Yeah, and this is kind of a strange situation because I agree that the multiplayer in Assassin's Creed is more unique, but that's kind of why I want to get Uncharted first, because I feel like the Assassin's Creed multiplayer community is still going to be there, on console.
Right.
And Uncharted, it's still there with 2, but I don't know. I kind of want to get on the ground floor with this one to maybe prolong how long I play it, but I know that Assassin's Creed Brotherhood experience is going to be there later.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and traditionally, the Assassin's Creed, I love their single-player games, campaigns, but it usually takes me a lot longer to work my way through, so I kind of want to get this one to, whip through it and
whip through it, play the multiplayer as much as you want, and then go trade it in towards Assassin's Creed.
Possibly, yeah. That's kind of what I've thought about, yeah. So, I don't know. But, yeah, I can't wait for that. Also, Saints Row 3.
And I'm surprised about this one, actually.
Mike, have you watched
I'm
any
not.
of those?
No, I
Have
haven't.
you watched any of the demo trailers?
Mm-mm.
They have a couple, 10-minute developer commentary where they show straight gameplay. That game is fucking nuts. And have you played any of the other ones?
No, I've heard about Saints Row 2 from Giant Bomb. They talked about flying in your underwear, doing crazy. I don't know. It just sounded insane.
It is insane, and I got the first one way back, and I was just blown away. Second one kind of was pretty janky overall, but it's ridiculous. It's a GTA set to where you can do whatever the fuck you want to do, and
So it's a sandbox or whatever.
yeah, it's a sandbox game, and it's it's mission based, traditional like GTA. But the one thing that I loved about the first one instead of GTA was the mini games that you kind of do as you progress are basically physics type, physics engine games, mini games to where okay, go see how many people you can destroy. Kill in the most impossible ways, and they'll give you a score counter. So you're driving, and you're trying to just ramp it up and see, get someone flying and see how you can make their limbs crumble in the weirdest way. And it looks like from the new commentary videos, they're adding a bunch of different stuff. They have like a man cannon where it's this truck that has a cannon. You can go throw people in it and shoot them. Oh God.
Like to a target, or just
No,
like
just
shoot
to
them out of a
anything.
cannon?
Or whatever, yeah, whatever you want to do. Go.
And there's
on
also don't forget the giant dildo.
Oh yeah, the big purple dildo that you can use as a weapon. It's probably like 5 feet long. You just whip it around and kill people.
That's ridiculous.
Very, very lifelike.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I see what you did. But no, go watch some of those developer commentary videos because that game's insane. And I think that game's going to be a huge surprise to people who kind of have dismissed it as stupid. One of the really good examples was Jeff Kanata. I remember from one of the earlier Weekend Confirms talking about when he saw the trailer, dismissing it outright because it looked juvenile and stupid. And then he went on later after he played it and said, this is juvenile stupid in a good way. This is like just pure fun.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I can't wait for that game.
It looks a lot like.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it does look like a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And you're getting that on PS3, I'm assuming.
I haven't decided because the PC port of Saint Rose 2 especially was really janky. So, I mean, I would ideally get it on there, but I'm thinking this might be a game to get and kind of sit on the couch and play. But it kind of, I don't know, kind of depends. The problem I have is I have, a young child.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Yeah.
It's easier to play stuff like that on the computer because I have headphones on. So if he's off in the room doing something else, where if I'm in the living room playing that and he walks in, Daddy, why'd you kill that person with that big purple thing? would be awkward. So
Did not consider that, so got it.
So I don't know. I'm maybe waiting to kind of hear about impressions of PC build or review of the PC build because I think ideally I would get it on PC.
It's really unfortunate that the PC gets the short stick of the console ports.
Yeah.
So,
Wah wah.
yeah, really.
All right.
So what about you, Steve?
Pretty much talked about everything that I've been looking to buy. The only one that we didn't mention was Battlefield 3.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
It's I think it's on my must-buy list because pretty much every other Battlefield game has been. But we'll see. The Jets are back. Going into prone position is back.
Let me ask you a question. Do you know, are you allowed to talk about your impressions from the game?
I have no idea.
Why don't you go ahead, because it wasn't even yours.
True. I somehow played the game already.
You played the alpha build of it?
I played the alpha build already.
Oh.
And it's pretty awesome. There's only one map that we got to play, and I normally wouldn't talk about it if I thought it was super janky, but it was pretty rad. I will say there was a couple hitches, but it was nothing that couldn't be fixed by the time the game came out. But just the origin stuff aside, the game was amazing. The game, I mean, it felt like a definitely a generational step forward. Now, anything I say, take into consideration that I do not play the Call of Duty games. I haven't played a Call of Duty game since like the first Modern Warfare game. So take that into consideration. I have not played any of the newer ones, but as far as the feel of the Battlefield game, it feels like a Battlefield game, but it is just, everything is so tight. The thing that the Battlefield games have always done, that have always impressed me more than any other shooter that I've ever played, and this one is no exception, is the sound. The sound of everything going on is like second to none. It is, I have to play with headphones, and it is so immersive. The sound makes that game so phenomenal. And like I said, again, it is a step up from Battlefield Bad Company 2. It just sounds so good. The thing that I liked in Battlefield Bad Company 2 that they brought over to this, but even made more like amazing, was the rush mode. In rush mode in the previous game, you move towards certain targets on the map. Like you have to take out these 2 terminals. Once you take out those, then you can move down to the next section of the map. They've done this in Battlefield 3 as well, but it seems a lot more epic. Like, I don't want to go into too much description, but the whole feel of moving from one area to another just seems to have gotten ramped up. And
that's awesome, because even you just saying that, I love rush mode.
Yeah, that was my big surprise in the last one. Multiplayer was the rush mode. I just fell in love with it, and I guess I'll just fuck it. I'll say it. Like the one map that you have that we had to play with was, you're out on this like open grassy field, and it's kind of at a, how should I put it? It seems like you're in a park, and you're fighting in this park, and when you do finally push in, I believe how it happens is jets fly over and they actually bomb this end section of the map, and it opens up into the subway. And you actually have to move down into the subway and continue to go forward. And it just everything is just so, it's so epic. I hate to use that word that gets used so much that it gets lessened in meaning, but it feels epic. It's really good.
It was epic in an epic way.
Yes.
Got it.
Did it feel like Bad Company 2 felt like movement-wise, combat, gun-wise?
Yeah, I mean, the way you feel, the way you move, the actual movement of the character and the gunplay and the weight of the weapons, everything felt really pretty much the same. But what Battlefield does that I love is all the little tiny things that add up to give you that immersive experience. Like the one thing that there's always something in the game every time they make another multiplayer version of it that kind of makes me go, ooh, that's cool. And this one was no different, because there was like, if you are aiming your gun or looking down the sight and you come across a sniper from across the field or whatever, if they are aiming at you or near very close to you, you will actually see the sun reflect off of their scope.
Oh, cool.
You'll actually see like a little quick light reflect, so you can see that they're aiming towards you. Sometimes it's the last thing you see before you get shot.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
And just like that, the red dot sight, if someone aims a red dot sight at you, your screen will kind of go bright red, like as if someone was aiming a red pointer in your eye.
Wow.
It's little stuff like that in the game that just is making it so awesome.
Overall, seeing the game move like in actual time while you're playing, does it look that good as you would imagine?
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
It looks pretty good.
Yeah, I can't wait for that one.
Yeah.
When you in the alpha you were playing, do you know how many players were supported in those maps?
That's a good question. I thought it was a 32-player map, but don't quote me on that. I cannot remember.
Because I think it's the 64 is the overall PC.
Right. I think they were just testing 32, but I could be. I thought they said somewhere that they were doing 64, but I really don't remember.
I love how they're bumping that up because I think 32 was the max in Bad Company 2 on PC, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's kind of going back to older Battlefield sizes.
Yeah,
and I love those huge character maps.
Everything felt real smooth. The whole, just a quick side note, the Origin thing, it actually felt really good. I mean,
I got some news for you. I don't know if that's probably old news, but when I was at GameStop today, I was talking to the manager, and he was talking about the GameStop's new download platform, which is basically Impulse, from Stardock that they had bought. Yeah. But he had told me that, and this is probably old news to a lot of people, that a lot of the PC games you can buy and trade in credit and all that, and buy the downloads in store for the Impulse client.
Really?
And
I actually didn't know that.
And I didn't either, because he mentioned it because I was buying Dead Island on PC. And he's mentioned that their Impulse is the only online realtor for Battlefield 3 besides Origin. So
really?
Apparently you can buy it on there. I mean, if you're absolutely opposed to Origin, I mean, you might be. If you're opposed to Origin, you're probably going to be opposed to GameStop's client as well. But
but I think
another option.
I'm pretty sure though you still have to use Origin for your actual game.
That
stuff,
might be true.
Because that's the way it worked with Battlefield 3. Is you actually open up a Origin browser thing.
Okay, so that would maybe be the equivalent of buying a direct-to-drive game, and it's basically Steamworks.
Yes, I think you still have to use Origin in the end. So if you are against Origin, you're pretty much not going to buy BF3.
Yeah, but I still thought it was cool to know that you can go trade in game. If you want to go trade in games at GameStop, you can still get PC downloads.
That's news to me, anyways.
That is kind of cool.
So if you want Dead Island to Steamworks, if you want to go trade in games to GameStop, you can get that.
I actually bought Dead Island today through Amazon and through their Amazon download service it was $40 and I had $20 in credit already, so I spent $20 to get the game, and I just took the code off of there and dropped it into Steam and downloaded it from there.
Damn, I saw Jason playing that. I'm jealous.
And that's actually what we were supposed to be talking about right now. Rare was supposed to pop in.
Dude, do we want to pause? Because Rare twittered at you about 60 minutes ago that he'll be there in 10. So do you want to take...
We can take a quick break if you want.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
And now we have our special guest, which I don't know if he's really that special, but it's Rare. How's it going, Rare?
Good, and I am too special.
Okay. You have been playing a game lately that you really wanted to talk about, and you're so excited that it got me to buy it, and I know Jason's bought it, and he's probably played it. I have barely touched the game, so I really want to talk about it, but what is it, Rare?
Dead Island. It's awesome. I made a video review of it. I think I used the word awesome 40 times. I'm going to put a little awesome counter in the bottom right just to count how many times I say awesome.
Ding,
but
ding.
It is, basically. It is a fantastic game. Should I just give the particulars of what it is, basically?
Sure. Explain to the people.
Okay, so people, if you've ever played Borderlands, take that, make the maps a lot more open and freaking beautiful as hell, and then add zombies. And that's Dead Island. It's awesome. Keep on using that word.
You know, the one thing I got to say, because Ruth had a good point on the boards about the Borderland comparison, the thing that annoyed him the most was the Borderland respawn of every character every time you went back in.
Yeah.
And from my brief time of Dead Island, which now is probably 4 or 5 hours, is there is respawn, but it's not like Borderlands. It kind of it seems more natural to where if you went into an area and then left and there's zombies there and you come back, the zombies may not be in the exact same spots. There actually may be none of them. There may be more of them. It seems a little bit more natural than Borderlands did.
It's kind of like if you clear a certain area and you go away for 15 minutes, you come back, there might be one or two, but it won't be full on complete and total respawn of all the zombies. You just slug your way back to where you were. So it does come across as a lot more like, oh, there's just zombies, and every now and then I'll run into a couple if I just cleared out someplace. So it does feel a lot more natural rather than just like, oh, great, an entire section of zombies again, because I just cleared this out like 30 seconds ago and now they're back. So it's not like that in that sense of Borderlands. I think I'm sorry, go ahead.
The part that's got me intrigued and I'm excited to get to play some is there's a lot of podcasts talking about how many MMO qualities it draws on, and I've seen a little bit of video of it. Like there are, I should say, like quests that you can get or missions or whatever you want to call them from people. There are like skill trees. There is loot, but I don't know to like what extent that all is.
Again, kind of akin to Borderlands. There's lots of quests. And the skill trees, you give you 3 major skill trees, and there's like 50 levels, so you can get, I think you can like fully fit out at least 2 probably, if not more. There's like a fury tree, which is like where you go berserk and you do like tons of damage. Then there's a middle tree, which is just like basic weapon upgrades and stuff. And then there's a survival tree, which is more like increased health, ability to like open up locked containers and other cool stuff like that. So that's kind of similar to like WoW or some other similar MMO. There's your 3 major skill trees, and then loot is also very similar to Borderlands and most MMOs, where you have, your standard, your uncommon, your rare, your very rare, and then you're like, epic or whatever like that. And I've only found like I think 1 epic weapon, and I've been playing the game for I think like 8 hours now.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
The one thing I liked about the loot compared to Borderlands was Borderlands got really confusing with like shotgun, ranged, pistol. This kind of seems a little bit more categorized like blunt, sharp weapons, ranged weapons, to where I had a lot better idea of, okay, this is the type of weapon I want to have, where in Borderlands I remember just grabbing all these guns, like, I don't fucking know what to use, like, just whatever.
This one has fire damage, that's kind of cool.
And I would always look, whatever sells for the most, that's what I want to use in Borderlands.
Yeah.
In this one I had a better idea of, like, okay, my guy's a blunt weapon guy, I want to upgrade these ones, and I know which ones to get rid of a lot easier.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. I'm playing a throwing weapon guy. Each character, there are 4 characters. They each specialize in a weapon type. So Jason is playing the blunt weapon specialist, and I'm playing a throwing weapon specialist. So I have a whole bunch of like knives, like butcher's knives, a couple like short swords and stuff like that, and then I'll just chuck them at people. And it's so cool because I have an ability called Boomerang, where every now and then I'll chuck it and it'll go right back into my hand, so I can just chuck it again. I don't have to like go up to the zombie and pull my weapon out. But what's really cool is as you're throwing weapons at people, it'll stick into the zombie and like move as the zombie moves. So like if you put it in his arm, he's waving his arm around. You see like the sword waving around in his arm. It's very cool, and it's not annoying where if I kill a zombie, it's like really hard to go get my weapons. I just run up and just spam the F key, and I'll have all my weapons back in like 2 seconds. So it's not.
Wow.
Speaking of the weapons, I did have a question, and I was reading about the weapon degradation and how they lose. I don't know. They have percentages of.
Yeah, it's like repairing.
Yeah, is it a lot of inventory management? Is it inconvenient? Is it annoying when they degrade? Is it hard to find a new one? Stuff like that.
They don't degrade permanently. Basically, what's cool I'll just say this real quick. What's really cool is a throwing weapons guy. When you throw items, they don't take durability damage. So repairing for me is almost like a non-existent venture, except for every now and then if I like beat someone up with a bat. But basically, as you use your weapons, excluding ranged weapons which don't have durability, they just have ammo. They take damage over time, and like if you cut up like 50 zombies with a butcher's knife, eventually your butcher's knife's gonna get like really dull and bent out of shape, and then you just go to a repair table.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. And then you can just
the
repair
stick's
it.
not going to fix itself.
Gotta go get it fixed up, if you know what I mean. But you can just go to a repair table and fix it up for a pretty modest fee. And then at the repair table, you can also upgrade weapons, which will just give them basic stat increases of like more damage and more durability and stuff like that. And then when you get blueprints, which you'll find through doing just around the map or doing quests or whatever, you can kind of make custom weapons. Like I have one where I take a baseball bat, and it's called the Nailed mod, where you just stick a bunch of nails in your baseball bat.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, that one's awesome. And then Jason's really close to getting the fire one, where you can take like a baseball bat or a hammer, and you'll like wrap, like paper or wax around it, and then you light it on fire. So you can light zombies on fire. And then you can get one called the electricity, where you put a battery like on a sword, and you put little, like the negative and positive charges on it, so you have an electric sword. So you'll find those as you go, and that makes the game a lot of fun, having cool little weapons mods. So the weapons are like Borderlands, but it's streamlined, so it's not confusing, it's just fun.
And what I compare the weapons in this most to is Dead Rising, which I really, really like Dead Rising, but the major fault I have with it was you would get these blueprints for weapons, and you would get these combinations for weapons. You would make it, and the weapon might last you a couple minutes. Like, you would have to really use it sparingly when you needed it, but I feel a lot better in this game to where I can use it, and like Rare said, it doesn't break. In Dead Rising, once it was used up, it was gone from your inventory completely.
That's a bummer.
You can take it back and repair it, which I think this game... Like, I really like Dead Rising. I thought it had a lot of promise, but, like, this game right there trumps that with that aspect alone.
I have heard a lot of people who have played Dead Rising say this is what they wish Dead Rising 2 was, basically.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome.
I don't know. I haven't been able to play it much.
4-player co-op online.
I haven't really found any major faults with the game, other than the music kind of sucks, but... I was playing the game and I didn't even notice I had the sound off when I was doing a video recording until like the very end. I was like, oh.
Well, there are some bugs.
Yeah, there you go.
I've had some bugs already today. The actual sound, though, when I can get this, because at times I have sound glitches where it kind of like scratches audio.
Yeah, that's an issue with headsets. I had that too. Like on the main menu, it sounds like you're like have white noise almost.
Right, but when the sound's working, I actually like the sound effects. And it supports like 5.1, 7.1 simulated sound, and when it's working, it works really well. I like, oh shit, I hear something, and those are pretty good audio clues to tell you to turn around and do something.
Like the infected screaming from like half a field away, and you're like, ah, shit.
Yeah, and one thing I got to say, I love the aspect that you can do the kick to do some sort of crowd control.
Thank God.
And there is the analog combat with which I heard Brad Shoemaker on Giant Bomb talk about is supported, but it's not by default, where you can equip the controller. I don't think it works with keyboard. Do you know, Rare?
I don't think so, but it does work with a controller.
Right, so I plugged in my 360 controller to the PC, and basically you pull the left trigger to bring up your weapon, and then your right stick swings it in a certain direction, and if you like hover before swinging or targeting, you can like target arms, and you can break arms, you can break legs. So I was talking to Rare earlier, and there was this boss that was coming at me, and he was this big, tall, lumbering guy, and I targeted his arm, his right arm first, and then you get like a combo, like just like an MMO, it pops up points like break, and it pops up like I got experience points for it. Then I targeted the left arm and broke that. So basically the guy was coming at me just trying to swing his head at me. So I targeted his head and then just bashed it in, and then he staggered at me with no head for like 3 steps and just fell down.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so like if you have the means of playing it with a controller, I recommend it. It's a little bit weird to get used to at first because the tutorials aren't that great, but just stick with it. And I love the melee combat in this game. It's really satisfying. I find as I'm fighting, I kind of like have been moving in my chair because I feel like I'm getting into it, and it like deking and moving to the left. It's really, really good.
Yeah, like after playing for 8 hours, not once I was like, oh, I'm sick of fighting. Like the fighting's really fun. It doesn't really get repetitive. I find it to be very, very enjoyable. Have you tried doing a co-op with anyone yet?
No, I've had someone join my match and then leave right away. One thing I wanted to ask you was, it kind of, for people who don't know how it works, if you have online equipped or that setting on, it'll kind of tell you if someone's in the area and the same level as you, and you can just hit a certain button to join them instantaneously. But say you're further in the game than me, but if we do a private match, can you join me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I was playing last night with Blampo Gecko. You guys know him, right? He was like level, I don't know, like 20 or something. I was like 7, and he came and played with me. And as we did quests, he would get equipment of his level, and the zombies also scaled the difficulty for, like, it was his level, but I could still, go and fight. I would just take more damage. So it's totally playable with co-op.
Would it still further your story?
Yes. Like, we were playing my story, but he was still getting loot and EXP for quests he'd already done. But because they were doing them for me, he would get equipment of his level and experience while furthering my story. Yeah, and if you're both have at the same point, it furthers both of your stories. So, like, if you both have one quest that you need to do, regardless of, like, whose quote-unquote game you're in, it'll give you both credit for completing the quest. Yeah, it's
Peter
really
Molyneux,
cool.
listen to this.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, that's
Fixed
Dead Island
Fable.
for you. I highly recommend it. It's very, very fun.
Well, I look forward to being able to play
You're going to
some
hate
more.
it.
I'm probably going to hate it. But yeah, so it looks good, seems to be good. So that's awesome. Go Dead Island, live it, or undead it. I don't know, whatever. But before we go, we have to go through last week's question. If you don't remember, it was, what movie would you like to see a video game version for, and what genre would that video game be? The answers that we got, the one answer from the emails, I guess we should probably go through what our answers would be first. Do you guys have any answers for that?
I have the most obscure fucking answer ever.
Okay, Dean, what is it?
I would have it based on the 1980s movie From Beyond, directed by Stuart Gordon, and it would be a survival horror.
I've never heard of that.
Most people haven't. It's fucking brilliant, though.
Sounds
I told you it was obscure.
Indeed.
good.
Good.
Jason, you
Yeah,
got
I
one?
do. It's one that I think I heard that maybe they are making, or there's a rumor they're making, but just the whole premise of this movie, I think could be really well done if done right, is Inception. I picture kind of your protagonist trying to simulate someone through a dream and trying to keep it real and keep it real to them. And if things start to fall apart, you have to respond to where you try to keep it, minimized, or, like, I don't know if this would be an adventure game or a shooter game. I don't know exactly what it would be. But I picture you trying to guide someone through something and trying to maybe act like, it's reality, and then when it falls apart, physics go crazy, and you have to respond in kind. I don't know.
That would be cool.
I have no idea exactly what it would be, but, I mean, that could be awesome.
Rare, do you happen to have one?
I don't have a specific movie, but, like, take a really old, like, black and white noir and make it, a mystery or, puzzle solving, something sort of akin to LA Noire, but, like, really old school, like, like 1930s or 1920s, whatever. I'd really like to play that kind of game. I know it doesn't sound like something I'd be interested in, but I think it'd be really cool. Like a Maltese Falcon kind of movie. I know Maltese Falcon is a really good example, but...
The 39 Steps. Stranger on a Train. Old Hitchcock or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Sweet.
All right.
Yeah.
I couldn't really come up with a fantastic idea. I had a bunch of stupid ones, like a fighting game based on the Foot Fist Way.
Yeah,
or...
we just knocked out that old lady.
Yeah. But yeah, the only one that I came up with was actually based on one of my favorite movies. Would be a video game version of Falling Down, but it would be like LA Noire, but you played the detective trying to track down
that would be cool. Yeah.
Michael Douglas.
I think the LA Noire model has we talked about that before. That has a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, you could adapt that into some other game types, and it would be pretty amazing. So, I hope somebody picks that up, even though I don't think that the company that made LA Noire will be. But anyways, let's get to the answers from around the net. Answers to that question from email. We only got one email, and it was from Coolit, and I actually really liked his idea, a Road Warrior MMO. It's because I want a Fallout MMO so bad. I don't know if Interplay's actually going to ever get that. I don't know. Interplay, I believe, is still doing it, but I could be wrong. I don't. That's an ongoing
until
thing.
it actually comes out.
I'm pretty sure it's still going on right now. I get emails about it every now and then.
Yeah, you do. But until I see some like in gameplay and people testing, I will.
I just want to
probably...
admit something. I'm sending all those emails. That game is not real.
Damn it, Jason.
That would explain all the spam I'm getting.
Yeah. Then we got some from Twitter. Let's see. Matt says, or I should say Matt Planet, is not really a movie, but he would love to see a Game of Thrones MMO.
That strategy game comes out this month.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oak Stout says he'd like to see a Ferris Bueller game as a 3DS adventure.
All right, Telltale.
Huh.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Then Layla Turkey put on Twitter that she would like a Blade Runner RPG.
Well,
And she was not the only one that said that. Actually, Brian, who's been on the show before, Grokked on Twitter, also put Blade Runner RPG, and they both got some applause from other people saying, yes, that would be
there
awesome.
were some Blade Runner games.
There was Blade Runner games. There was a Blade Runner like point-and-click adventure game that was pretty great.
Was that the one where...
Was it by Westwood?
Yeah, was that the
Yes,
one
it was
where
Westwood.
it was random people were the replicants? Like whenever you restarted the game?
I don't remember. I think I only played it like once.
I don't remember. That was a long
There was a
time
Blade
ago.
Runner game where each time you started it randomly selected a different person that you found out.
It might have been. I don't. Man, it's been forever. Yeah. But yeah, that was a good game. It was one of those ones that I was surprised at how good it looked.
It was It used voxels for the characters and stuff. It was
Well, we might be
very pretty.
having one because Ridley Scott said he wants to make a sequel or a remake or whatever.
What'd you say, Dean?
I said I love you, Ridley Scott.
Oh yeah. Then we had one from Necro Rogue Icon who said that he would love to see some of the Hitchcock classics turned into games, especially Rear Window and Strangers on a Train.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. See, there's at least 2 or 3 people that want that, so somebody should be making this game.
Excellent.
Winnan said on Twitter that he would love a Doctor Strangelove game. I've never seen Doctor Strangelove.
You never seen Dr. Strangelove?
No.
Okay.
I know. No.
Oh, all right.
And finally from Twitter, Ruth put that he would like to see a Buckaroo Banzai or Fifth Element RPG.
Yeah, that would be cool. The Fifth Element. Oh,
Yeah. Lilu Dallas Multipass.
Shannon would play that. Or you have that sweet-ass tie in Buckaroo Banzai that Peter Weller wore. They've been showing that on cable a lot. Yeah.
Have they?
Unlike Encore.
All right. From the forums, we got one response. Actually, we got a couple of responses, but the one went and put a response on there, but he linked an image and the image didn't actually work. So, the response that we got from Maeve, aka Heather, put that while I'm a bigger fan for the series than the movie, an MMO based on Buffy the Vampire Slayer could be fun, especially if Joss Whedon would participate in it. An MMO with the same campiness in the dark world of the supernatural could be fun. My thoughts have nothing to do with the fact that I've just discovered Buffy the series is streaming on Netflix during my maternity leave.
Yeah, Shannon just
comes
finished
out.
rewatching them all every season. Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Oh wow!
I've never watched the series.
Series
It's not
really
bad.
good. Angel's better, in my opinion, but whatever.
Really?
But no, she's been a champion of that for a long time. That a actual faction have one side vampire, one side whatever human, and you could even throw in a third side because there's a lot of different supernatural creatures in the Buffy universe, and I mean that would totally work. Yeah,
Good. Would it be 3 sides?
I mean, in my opinion, it would, but it doesn't have to be. I'm gonna make it 3 sides, of course, but.
All right. Then from Google Plus, we have a few. First one off is Brenda, who said that I think this might have been a joke. Super Mario Brothers. I think she wants a sequel. She says, I'd love to see what Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo's characters got up to after they defeated the Goomba invasion.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
I don't know. I don't think Bob Hoskins would be on board with
he's
that.
publicly said he hates that movie.
Yeah.
But maybe that would be what would be great. Bring him back. Just he's all pissed
Let
off.
him have some more say. Grimnir on Google Plus said, "You mean if the movie?" You mean if the movie-based video games was worth playing, then he said it would be Constantine. He would like to see a Constantine game.
Yeah. I never
Keanu
read that
Reeves.
comic, but there's a lot of diehard Constantine people.
Yeah, I kind of like the movie. I will not say that it was a fantastic movie,
No, I
but
agree. It was
the premise based on the comic. I didn't think it was
No.
a bad movie, but I'm sure it was horrible compared to the comic. But
sure, but I remember. Yeah, same thing.
Sure.
It was fun.
I liked it. Rebecca says that she would like the Hunger Games adapted into a video game. I don't know what that is.
A girl from work really loves that book, and I just downloaded the free sample on Kindle. Apparently, that's like it's coming out as a movie, and it's going to be the next big thing, but I don't know what it is either.
I don't know what it is. All right. Then Grimnir actually came back and said, or if they could video gamify Fear and Loathing, that would be interesting.
Oh,
Yeah,
that'd be
that
horrible.
would be awful. Like, God, it would be so fucking insane. Like, you wouldn't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like,
But then he also added, maybe something like Clerks.
no.
I don't know about that.
I think
And then
he's just
he
naming
actually
movies at
noted,
this point. I think he's just naming movies at this point.
He's just trying to get airtime. That's what
He's just going through his library. Oh, wait, I got this movie.
It's like the Blair Witch Project.
I'd love to see meatballs.
Oh wait, they did game that. Oh god.
Dune? Yeah, they made a Dune game and it was awesome. But anyways, Rogner said he loves... Oh, no, he already actually put this. I'm sorry. He also he wanted to note that he liked Grimnir's suggestion of Constantine. So moving on to JJ, she said that she'd like to see a game of The Dark Crystal.
No, see, Shannon would be all about that. So would Cara.
Yeah.
Cara loves that movie too.
Never seen it.
Me neither.
I know what it is. I've just never seen it.
Jim
It's
Henson.
good.
Jim
And
Henson
creepy.
movie.
Oh, but speaking of Jim Henson movies, Labyrinth.
David Bowie. Bring
Yeah.
it back.
Fuck yeah. Love
No.
David Bowie. Talk about man crush. Dusty Monk said, I want to play Appleseed the MMO. Which
It's an
I've never
anime.
seen that series. I know it's an anime, but I've never seen it. Then Spencer Williams said, excuse me,
That
that I just totally screwed that up. He would like to see John Hurt as General Woundwort in Watership Down.
That sounds
Like to see a game version of Watership Down. It would be a
sounds
first-person
made
shooter.
up.
It probably is. Then Brenda came back for more. She said, Happy Feet is a penguin-based
No.
dance game. Movie was-
I'm not sure if that would
I
be
hate
awesome or
penguins.
horrible.
Yes.
You hate penguins?
how
Because
can
they're
you hate
freaky.
penguins?
They're always doing something weird.
What? Oh no.
They're always they're always doing the same thing, and like, I have a recurring nightmare where I wake up around like penguins surrounding me, and they're all walking weird. I don't want that.
Oh.
Did I ever tell you the story about the lady that drove up to me and my wife when we went to a zoo that had penguins?
No.
Okay, we went to, I think it was the St. Louis Zoo, and they had penguins at the St. Louis Zoo. I believe it was that one. Anyways, they had this thing that if you waited in line, I don't remember if you had to pay money or not, but you could actually go up and walk in where the penguins were, which would freak you out, I'm sure. But you could actually walk up and feed the penguins. And when we left, we got all done. We did not do that, but we saw it and we saw people doing it, and we left. And as we're like walking back to the car, some lady and her boyfriend, I guess, drove up. I think the boyfriend was driving and she was in the passenger seat, but they drove up to me and my wife like nobody else for some reason, stopped the car right next to us on the curb, and she leaned over her boyfriend and she goes, they have penguins here, right? And we're like, yeah. It's just like, and you like, they have the thing where you can go in there, and I was like, well, yeah. And she goes, can you touch them?
Can you fuck them?
I go,
That was the
well,
fourth question.
I go, you can feed them, but I don't know if you can really like pet them or anything. And she's like, all right. She goes, it's like my dream to touch a penguin.
What dream is that?
And then she drives
They
off.
leave.
That's it.
She's like, screw
All
this,
right.
let's go to
All
another
right.
zoo.
Yeah. But last, before we leave, I'll just skip the last one. Larry wanted to say that he wants none because movie games always
That's
suck.
not true.
Good ansor.
That's not
Solid
true.
answer.
It's generally true.
I'll agree with that, but
But the question for next week that we're asking is, what is the worst online incident you've gotten into? And we're kind of leaving this wide open. I'm not going to leave it like to explanation. I'm not going to explain it too much. Just tell us that, like, whatever your weirdest or most awkward story is from your time in online gaming. So just dig deep and let us know. You can email us anonymously if you don't want to be known for it. Just email us at multiplaying@gmail.com. And we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Well, gentlemen, no point in hanging around this dump any longer.
Wait! Where are you going? I was going to make espresso.
Show's over, folks.
You can't go! All the plants are going to die.
Take off, eh?
Thanks for listening to Multiplaying, the companion podcast at multiplaying.net. Questions, comments, feedback, errors, etc. can be sent to multiplaying@gmail.com. We invite you to write a review on iTunes and visit our website at www.multiplaying.net.
We've made a lot of friends, shared a lot of laughs, often at the expense of others.
I think some people are going to be upset.
Let me just close this conversation by saying you are one unique individual.
Thank you and good night.